for the Happy Days Half Apron Aimee. It has a nice big pocket at the front and it's great to put your dusters in or your pegs. It's fully lined with no raw seams showing, and this is how you make it. This is what you'll need: a piece of lining, a piece for the back pocket, another piece of lining and a piece for the main front, and pieces for the strap which will join together. Take your main outer fabric and place your template number 7, which is cut the curve, and place it right there in the corner. Draw a line and cut out, and then flick it over so you've got the opposite, and put it on that side and draw a line and cut out. Once you've cut those out, repeat for one piece of the lining fabric. Take one piece of your lining fabric and, using template 7 again, do the same as we did before and draw a line round the curve, and then flick it over and draw a line and then cut it out. Now place both those fabrics right sides together, line up the edges and the curve and clip just around the curve. Once you clip one side, clip the other, and now we're going to take it to the sewing machine and we're going to start there and using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew all the way around the curve on that side and all the way around the curve on that side. Once you've sewn around both your curves, snip around the curve and this will give you a much better finish. And now turn it the right way. I've turned it the right way round and I've pressed it, and I've top stitched around that curve and that curve. Take your back pocket lining fabric, which in our case is the pink, and place the pocket that you've just made on top. Make sure that all the edges line up and at the top. Now place the last piece of your lining fabric right sides together on top, and we've sandwiched everything together. If you want to have a curve on the bottom of your apron, use template number 8 and pop it on the corner there and draw around it. I put some clips in just to stop the fabric moving, and once you've done that side, flip it over and do that side. Oops, there. You can of course leave your apron square and miss that part out. The next stage is to clip all the way around and then take it to your sewing machine and, starting there, sew all the way around the curve, around the bottom and all up to the top. Remembering you don't sew along there, that's left open. I've sewn all the way around and I've clipped the edges of the curve there to make it a much nicer finish, and now I'm going to turn it the right way by pulling it through the gap at the top. I've turned it the right way and I've pushed all the seams out, and I'm going to take it over to the iron and press. Now we're going to make the strap. To make the strap, we'll need a 2 metre length of fabric. If you've got a 2 metre length of fabric, that's great. But if not, join a 1/2 metre strip of fabric to each end of a 1 metre length of fabric. This is simply to avoid having a join in the middle of the apron. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Place your 1 metre length of strap facing upwards and take your 1/2 metre piece and place it right sides together on top and clip along there. Once you've done this end, you're going to do the same for the other end. I've clipped the fabrics together on both ends, and I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to use 1/4 inch seam allowance and start there and sew along there and stop, start there and sew along there and stop. I've joined them together and I've pressed open the seams, and now the next stage is to take your strap and fold it right sides together in half all the way along, and then take it to your iron and press. Fold your strap in half and to find the centre, and then draw a line or use a pin to mark the centre. Fold your apron in half to determine where the centre is and crease, and make a mark with a pen or with a pin. Now place your strap and line up that line and that line so it's in the centre, and then at this end measure 1 centimetre from the edge of your apron and draw a line, and do the same for this side and draw a line. Remove the apron part and then clip from that line all the way down to the bottom, and from that line all the way down to the bottom. I've clipped from the line that we drew all the way down to the bottom, although you can't see them, and I've done the same for this side from that line all the way down. And now I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and start in at that line, sew all the way along to the very end, and then down the side at the end to form the tape, and repeat for the other side. I've sewn from that mark all the way down to the bottom, and then I've gone along the bottom of the strap as well, and I've clipped the corners, and I've done that on both sides. This is still open, which is correct, and now I'm going to turn it the right way by pulling through there and pulling through there. I've turned the straps the right way and I've pressed them, and I've used this nifty gadget for turning the straps. It's worth investing in one of these. This one's by Prim, but there are other makes out there, easily available on Amazon or the like. Now we've got to hide this raw edge, and we do that by folding the edge in 1/4 inch, the same seam allowance that we used, all the way along, and take it to your ironing board and press all the way along. Do the same for this side as well. It's easier to do it actually on your ironing board than on this table, but you'll get a nice finish then. I've pressed the seam allowances in, and the next stage is to get your apron and place it right at the top. Take your time with this. I'm doing it upside down, so it's a bit awkward for me, but push that so the top of the apron is there, and you have a nice finish. That one's quite nice now. And when you're happy with where your placement, get some pins and pin along there. I've pinned all the way along, and as you can see, it's gone right through to the other side. And now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and start 1 centimetre in from the end, because we left that gap, if you remember, and sew all the way along there and take 1 centimetre over the edge as well. And that's your lovely Aimee half apron all finished.